you shouldn't even have to think about it. You should be honest with your spouse. Your spouse has a right to know what's going on with you. Your spouse has a right to know what your intentions are, what your goals and dreams are. You should be sharing that with you. That should be your best friend next to Jesus. And when there's no honesty, that's when the trust issue. And again, trust and honesty, they go hand in hand.
Definitely.
The one person that you should be able to trust more than anyone is your spouse. You have to be honest. And of course, fellas, we got to deal with intimacy. My wife had to talk to me about that. Because we be wanting to do as Marvin Gaye said, let's get it on to the break of dawn.
Oh, Lord.
It's very important, brother. Now listen, I understand because some of you all may know this brother. He's one of my favorite artists, Music Soul Child. Music Soul Child came out with a song called Teach Me How to Love. And that thing, I have to admit, is a secular song, but it still ministered to me. Because what it did, fellas, it talked about many of the things we were never taught. Because if you never saw your parents be romantic to one another, saying, I love you, so guess what? When you become married, you're not going to do those things. And that's something, fellas, we don't talk about in the barbershop. We don't talk about that. You know what we talk about, especially in the world, is having sex, who we hit. And you know what I mean. We don't have to pretend, fellas. We've been transparent and honest. But we have to learn to be intimate. And intimate does not always mean sex. Honey, talk about this intimate thing. Speak to the ladies and the fellas.
It's just connecting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just spending time. Just you deal with so much in the course of a day.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome has a job, and his job has been hectic at times,
Mm-hmm.
and more recently, it's been hectic again.
Mm-hmm.
A lot going on, so you're dealing with that. And let's face it, the last year and a half, going on 2 years, we've been dealing with COVID-19. We know people that have been affected by it. We know people that have lost their life. We plan to go to a buy a wake tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, COVID-19. So, so many things. You have family issues. You have to deal with life, and you got an adversary, so you got to deal with him. So, it's and one of the things that I have discovered and witnessed is Christian couples.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they lose themselves. We're both in ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So they lose themselves sometime all in the work of the Lord, and then they lose that connection with each other.
Now, in the name of ministry.
In the name of ministry. So you have to be intentional about it. And my philosophy is, if you're not going to be intentional, I'm a helpmate. Mm-hmm. I help remind you. I'm a woman. I'm a wife. I need you to remember that, because you can get caught up and wrapped up. And I got to preach over here. I got to do a Bible study. We got to do a YouTube video. I got to speak on the whole armor of God. How about you speak to me? How about you talk to me?
Isn't that the first ministry?
How about
what's the
your
first
wife
ministry?
And your husband is your first ministry?
Come on now.
And that can be lost. Especially I've seen it. I've witnessed it. It can be lost. And I can honestly say we really did work to try to cultivate that, even when we still had a minor child at home, because your child need clothes. They need to go to school. They got practice. They mm-hmm. got homework. They asking you a question. But we did cultivate that from the beginning, and I'm glad we did, because we would have something called our own date night. Because, you got to take the kid here. You got to take the kid there. Oh, yeah, kid, you taking the kid skating. Now, it's all fine. It's all good. You should have family time. Yeah. Your family, this is just a sidebar. Your family should not, only place they get together is at church on Sunday. I'm not against that. As for me and my house, we going to serve the Lord. But do something else together. Okay, so back to what I was saying after that sidebar. Likewise, there has to be that intimacy. And intimacy, I'm not talking about sexual relationship. I'm talking about you into me. I'm like, let's connect. Let's mm-hmm. talk. rub my back. I don't know. I rub your head. I don't know,
Yeah.
y'all. Just
Rub the feet.
intimacy.
Hug.
Yeah. And
Cause I
that's
know.
one of the things.
Cause I
He
know my
just said it.
ladies, when
He
we're
just,
in the bed, my wife loves. She wants me to
he
hug
just
her.
said it. He just that
Okay,
is
she wants us to
yeah.
get close, and fellas, I believe our women need that because we think differently.
Yeah.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, men are physical and women are psychological. And I remember some Bishop Noel Jones said, he said, fellas, if we do not touch our women psychologically, they don't want us touching their bodies.
Lord help.
Okay.
What happened? Y'all still there?
Yes.
Y'all see how it? They
Yeah.
want you. Y'all see how that just happened?
Yeah.
Lord help.
Again, ladies, fellas, women are psychological. And women, fellas, do not want you touching their body until you have got into their head because they're psychological. And there's nothing wrong with that because we have to be mindful of how our wives think because men are physical and women are psychological. We are two different creatures, but we can come together and make it work. And it's important that we communicate. And one thing I'm glad my wife let me know what she needs from me because fellas, we're not taught, we're not conditioned to romance, to be intimate. We are conditioned just to be physical. And fellas, when you get a chance, and ladies, I think it would be good too if you listen to the lyrics of Music Soul Child song, Teach Me How to Love. And I believe, ladies, you can teach your husband how to love. You have to tell them what you want from him. And honey, I know we're getting tight.
And there's a great book. I know he getting ready to close, and it's called The Song of Solomon.
Yes.
Read it if you need some hints. Because this is the Holy Bible. It says, her breast satisfy him, and he ought to be ravished with her love. Song of Solomon. Check it out.
Not nobody else's, her love.
Her. And with the wife of his youth. So if you need a pick-me-up or understand what's going on, Song of Solomon.
Yes. And listen, man, we can go on all day. But listen, I want to hit this pretty quickly because we are going to have a part 2. I want to deal with some things that can maintain a marriage. Love. Tony Braxton, what did Tony Braxton say, honey? Love should have what?
Now he got me quoting Tony. Love should have brought you home last night.
When you in love. There's a difference between loving somebody and being in love. I am in love with my wife, and no other woman can take her place. Now, they can tempt me, okay? But the way I look at it, if you are in love, I don't care how fine the woman is, how fine the man is, you go home to your spouse. In fact, you do like Joseph did. You run.
And she ain't ordained by God.
At all. And Satan, and let me tell you this, Satan ain't going to send nobody your way that's unattractive. He's not going to waste the time. He's going to send somebody to tempt you that you are attracted to. And just because you get married doesn't mean that you're blind. You're going to see somebody who you consider to be attractive. But that don't mean you give in to that.
And it's outward.
Yes.
You better look on the inward because it's outward.
Yes.
So the outward, it's never going to be inward because that's not who you're supposed to go after. So if you're only focusing on the outward, you're going to get yourself in trouble.
Big trouble.
Because her inward is not for you.
Yes. A few stolen moments, my brothers and sisters, have destroyed many marriages. I'm talking about a few minutes. At Motel 6.
Lord help.
The Doubletree. And even some of the hotels that prostitutes go to. But I'm going to leave that alone. But you know what I'm talking about. And in many cases, at folks' house. In the bedroom that you share with your spouse. Come on now. That shouldn't be. And one of the other things is that can maintain a marriage: commitment, dedication, loyalty, patience, flexibility. You got to be flexible. Because one thing I want to stress to everyone: listen, you got to be flexible. That means some things that you may not necessarily want to do, you got to do for your spouse. When my wife asks me to go somewhere, if I don't have anything to do, my brother, I don't have no problem. I can go. It's not gonna kill me. I love my wife. And she knows that I may not necessarily want to go or am interested in.
Because some stuff, yeah.
And that's okay.
And it's okay with me.
It's okay.
That he's not, but if I'm asking.
Okay, and vice versa. I mean, I've asked my wife to accompany me some places. Like, my wife knows I like going to high school basketball games. Now, she loves college basketball. But if I ask her, she'll go because I just want her company. Mm-hmm. We got to do those type of things.
Or he tricked me and take me to a sci-fi movie before he know I can't stand sci-fi.
Yes.
But I went.
Yes. And my wife knows I'm a sci-fi guy, you know. But, and the thing about it, my brother says, my wife and I have shows on television. That it's that time, ladies, that we buy. That's part of being together. And in some ways that's intimate because my wife, and I remember I made a mistake and watched the program that we were supposed to watch together. And she was like, I cannot believe you. She was serious about that. So you know what? I had to learn from that. Because something was going on and I wanted to watch it. But my wife, she wants us to watch it.
Because we have our TV dates.
Thank you.
And a lot of times we don't necessarily watch it in live time because we do have, we DVR, we have it recorded and we'll watch it, at a later time or whatever.
But it's important.
But those are our shows. Now he watched some stuff that I don't watch, and I watch some stuff. But we have our dates, and it's like, okay, when are we? Okay, 9:00. Date night, okay.
And I don't have a problem with it. So. And my wife would tell you, I'll be commentating doing what we watching because some of the stuff Tyler Perry be bothering me. I'm gonna leave that alone. Yeah. Keep that brother in prayer.
Y'all better put on the belt of truth because all that stuff is. I'm like, what is going on?
Getting out of control. Now listen, my brothers and sisters, God laid it on my heart too. Some of the things that we need in our marriage to maintain is the fruits of the Spirit.
Absolutely.
The fruit should be there, such as
absolutely
love, joy, peace, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. We need it. Now listen, I want to go ahead and end it by this. Most importantly, my brothers and sisters, Jesus should be at the center of your marriage. You mean to tell me that if you allow Jesus to lead both of you, that your marriage can't stay together? My question is, what type of relationship do you have with him? Because with Jesus, Jesus is going to move on you through his Spirit and through his word to do those things which are necessary to maintain your marriage. So if you are plugged into him, because Jesus is what, honey? He is divine and we are the what?
Branches.
Now what happens when that branch is broken off? It's thrown into the... Your marriage can be thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
You better stay connected to the vine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's part of the problem. We don't stay as married couples. We don't stay connected to the vine. Because Jesus knows that we are different. What they had, honey, I think that was a book years ago. Men are from Mars and women are from what? Venus. Yeah, we're different. Yeah. We think differently. We are raised differently. We are conditioned differently. But God knew that even with our differences, we can come together and we can make this thing work. My brother says, please do not allow Jesus